Missouri, Boston, Massachusetts, Houston, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Topeka, Kansas, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Miami, Florida, Detroit, Michigan, Denver, Colorado, Dallas, Texas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, California, Eugene, Oregon, New York, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the two-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to lunch with the Missouri Chamber of Commerce for February the 24th, 2024. My name is Aaron Post, your host, and creator, along with Elder Alvin Lyles. How you doing, Red?
Fine.
Good, and how's wife doing?
Fine.
Now, the crowd is kind of quiet this morning. She's out doing that sick. You must get him on a mission. Okay, Brother Shannon, how you doing, sir?
I'm way too blessed to be distressed.
But you got the right weather to ride your bike, though, that's for sure.
It's been beautiful out the last couple days.
Yes, unbelievably beautiful. And also, we be joined slightly by Mr. Chucky Bowles III. But we are broadcasting live on Freedomson USA, HotTalkRadio.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. And we broadcast from beautiful Woodson Terrace in North County, in North City, St. Louis, and also in Orland, Missouri. And thank you so much for making us a part of your weekend for 2015. It's been a long time, but we thank you so much. Right now, we will have prayers with Elder Alvin Lyles, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church, that's located at 5547 Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63120. And Elder Alvin Lyles, who's the pastor who brings us a very beautiful message today. He's the pastor of the Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church at 5547 Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. And today's prayer and today's message that we wrote today from the beautiful North St. Louis and through Walnut Park Bible Chapel Church by Elder Alvin Lyles. The address there is 5547 Dillon Avenue, 6120. That road red is all yours.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for waking us up this morning. You didn't have to, but we did. Heavenly Father, thank you for your wonderful gospel. How that Christ died for our sins, was buried and rose again. Now continue believing to the saving of the soul, continues to make heaven your home, before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, I should bless the sick all in the universe, and the well as well, Heavenly Father. And Heavenly Father, we know everything's in your hand. We know you can do anything but fail. So we thank you for what you have done, what you're going to do, and what you're still doing. In your most darling Son, Jesus' name, and that the Holy Spirit convict the spirit to be saved before it's ever too late. In Jesus' most precious name, amen.
Well, we think of that very, very, very powerful, beautiful prayer today, because right now, more than ever before, not ever before in our entire issue, this world, we call it. We got chaos, and so we definitely need prayers. So prayers, where he says, where there are two or more, he's in our midst. So you know he's in our midst today with our ordinance, and you and Scott put this on chair. But thank you so much, sir. So what do you got for us today, sir?
The top of the day is the burning bush.
Oh, boy.
Exodus, the 3rd chapter. This right here is, this burning bush, it has a lot to do with that God is a very sanctified, purified God. But this burning from this bush did not consume nothing. So it was a fire, but not the same type of fire that we burned out here from a volcano, or from our fuel and gas and fossils. That fire, that burning bush is a holiness of God. But the fire that's down here is destructive, because it's fire come back through intelligence down here. That's why it's so destructive. Because Satan is the one that's ahead of these fires down here. That burns up things and the electricity. You know, electricity is also an entity that's already here too. That's been in the earth. That's an entity too.
Okay.
Now it said, now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. Now this is where God was dealing with Moses at his mountain and at Horeb. In other words, you got to come to God, and God only deals with his own. But he can deal with whoever he please, but he deals with his own. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. Now that was a holy fire, the flame, but it wasn't destructive. And they looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. That ain't nothing but holiness in God. Ain't nothing but dealing with God. Because most fire destructive. It be have black smoke and all like that. But this God's smoke don't have no blackness in it. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, while the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, here am I. And he said, draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet. For the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
Whoa.
Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. See, Moses hid his face because they was always saying that if you look upon God, you would die. And so God is a consuming fire. So you cannot really look upon a fire. You can't look upon it because it'll interfere with your viewing of what you see. It's just that powerful. But this is where God fire. It'll make you blind, but you're not blind, but you are blind. It hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. The inhabitants of Canaan. Now Canaan is a son of Ham. And I have come down and delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptian, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now all these were Gentile people, and they was here, and descendants of Adam, descendants of Ham, all of them mixed up in here, but they didn't know they was family. Because the Israelites are blind until the fulfilling of the Gentile come in, according to Romans, the 11th chapter. It said, now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, And I have also seen the oppression, wherewith the Egyptian oppressed them. Come not therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto God, who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, certainly I will be with thee. God telling Moses that he the one that's going to bring them out. Not him. He going to use him to bring the people out. Because, you know, the Holy Spirit didn't dwell inside the people then. They came up on them and then they dwelled. But in the future, the Holy Spirit already dwells in the people. That's that word that said, let the word of God dwell in you richly. And he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God upon this mountain. See, if you notice, God is always high looking low. He's high looking low, but he's above the heaven and earth. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What should I say unto them? And God said unto Moses, see, God don't have to tell you who he is. All he do is speak, and we already know. It's in us. When God created us and all this, it's intelligence in there. That's why animals able to speak like he was speaking. To name the animals and everything. He named them. He had this intelligence. It was in him. Adam knew he came from God, and he was a Gentile, and he was perfect. But Moses said, I am. Moses, and God said unto Moses, I am that I am. Don't you know when somebody just come up and say, I am that I am, that automatically will reflect to me right there to say, this is talking about nobody but God, because he's the only one. That I am means one. And he said, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. And God said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me unto you. Now you know it's a trinity here. God is always in the making. And remember these numbers. The 3 makes a whole and complete of God. The 7 make a completement of God. That he's finished with things. The number 7 and the 3. This is my name forever. And this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together. See, that's why I call myself an elder, brother. See what I mean, Ira? Because reverend you don't see nowhere else where reverend is but in Psalms 19, where it is talking about God. That's his holy name. And he the only one deserves that title. We are under that. That's why we call ourselves elders. And say unto them, the Lord God of your father, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And another reason, the land of Egypt is where it all started at, And it's night. It's darkness. It's a dark continent. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. This is the same promise that God gave to Abraham. And so it's right back here to the inhabitants, the descendants of Adam, before Abraham. But his name was Abram first. And he was a Gentile. That's why people don't understand. Talking about God don't say Gentile. Yes, he say Jew, Gentile in the church of God. And they all related because Abram was a Gentile.
Yes.
And they shall hearken to thy voice, and thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt. And ye shall say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews hath met with us, and now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt would not let us go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof, and after that he will let you go. And that's what the Lord did too. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptian. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye should not go empty. But every woman should borrow of her neighbor, and of her that sojourn in her house, jewels of silver, and jewels of gold, and raiment. And ye should put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptian. See, they already had their own money, and gold and silver and everything. They already had it because of the war against other nations and taking their spoil.
Yeah, well, that means their possession.
Yes, sir. So may the Lord have blessing to the reading here of his word.
Well, we read first of all, it was a very, very powerful introduction by the burning of the bush to where we find ourselves. The Lord introducing himself, and as you said, this was in Egypt. And if anybody got a globe or got a map, okay, you will find that in those days, let me digress, okay. Since those days, the people have fought and taken land from each other, and they all have renamed it something else. But if you look at the maps and the globes, in the middle of all of that right now is where we are now having these conflicts. I call them wars. Like right now, what's going on over there in Israel and in the Gaza Strip, with the Palestinians and their families and people around them supporting each other. Like you said, these are all families that's over there now, and these families are still trying to support each other. And that's where we have these conflicts. And like I say, and we say this all the time, where people look around. The United States, as you always said, is not in the Bible, no place.
Amen.
No, not any place. But we are the youngest nation in the world, and we're the most powerful nation in the world. Now, that doesn't say that our country did not exist in those days. We just hadn't been discovered in those days.
Amen.
I mean, so I'm saying, well, now, well, the United States wasn't, no, we were here, but Christopher Columbus had not made that fateful journey, but we were not discovered. We were just here all the time. Matter of fact, we were very peaceful and very primitive.
Say our Christopher Columbus discovered the 13th colony.
Thank you. Right. And then
not the United States, because it was already here. You remember he said he was in the ukulele and he was shone down around to those 13 colonies. If you go back and read in history, in the West Indies.
Yes, and like I say, and over here there was a land of milk and honey also.
Yeah.
Because we had the crops on the West Coast. I mean, not on the West Coast, but in the South. Well, all over the cotton, all about sugarcane and stuff that we just came addicted to nowadays. It's all we were in the land of milk and honey also. If you look at it, there.
Yep. And another thing, the children of Israel, they scattered all over the universe, and it's gonna be God to bring them back. And I don't believe none of us gonna be here when that happens.
Well, Rev, I know as we're getting old, or they say waxing older every day, so that tells a story right there all by itself. But Rev, if you're not aware, that was in the 3rd chapter of Exodus, 2nd book in the Bible. You listen to Ferguson USA, HotPower.com, Lunch with Direct Human Converse. My name is Ira, folks. That message came from you from the Elder Allen Lyles, and that's Brother Scott. On that note, Brother Scott, Lunch with Direct Commerce on a beautiful Saturday. Check it out, you sir. Again, of St. Louis, and matter of fact, here we have some very beautiful weather where we are here in St. Louis, and I hope it's exactly where you are. And this has been a very, very, very busy week in a whole lot of ways. But we're going to start off this time with something that's very close to me, Rev, and Scott. And this is about the things that are going on in our state of Missouri. And one of the things, unfortunately, most times when you find out that here in Missouri being talked about, either the first, if there's bad news, Missouri is near the top of the list, okay, it's in the top 10. There's maybe in the top 5. Okay, there's some good news. We're at the bottom, and probably in the bottom 10. So again, right now, we're going to bring this to you so you hear this in the future, you be aware of what we're talking about. Right now, all politics are local, and that's true here in the state of Missouri. Recently, during the Kansas City Chiefs' second Super Bowl parade, so last one we had last year was beautiful. In fact, this one went on beautiful also because the shots and shooting that took place after the parade. After the parade did this take place. And in it, they found out that it became mass shooting in this country, number 50. And so keep that in mind now that we are early in the year, and already we have had 50 shootings, which is called mass shootings. And that is not a good thing. Unfortunately, since if you look at the statistics in the country, in the United States, in the United States, you find out St. Louis is normally number 1. No, it's been deadly cities, or Kansas City is number 2, or vice versa. If you're 1 or 2, either one of those 2 cities, okay, will be in the top 5 for dangerous cities in the country. Now, you said, why is that? Well, Missouri, if you listen to all the old movies you watch, Gunsmoke, Rifleman, and all that, you always heard the name St. Louis pop up. People going to St. Louis, some coming out of St. Louis. They're going to the Midwest. Well, that's where downtown here we have a memorial called the Gateway Arch. And by the way, is the smallest port in the United States. The Gateway Arch here is beautiful memorial they have on the riverfront here. And right now it's probably one of the most visited ports in the country so far. And the years again is still young. But anyway, in that, Missouri was what they call the Wild, Wild, Wild West. You can call many things. Well, right now, a lot of our people in Missouri, you hear about St. Louis, you hear about Kansas City. Well, those are our 2 largest cities. Springfield, Missouri is number 3. But in that being said, most of our land here is agriculture. So we have farmers here, make a long story short, and also we have hunters here. And so in our legislature, it is now controlled by Republicans who are primarily in the middle of the state, and Kansas City's on one end, City's on the other end, and in between there, you have people that who carry guns in their trucks. You see the rifles in the back seats there. Well, in most states, you have a thing called gun laws that govern how people get along, how they buy their guns. Well, here in Missouri, the age 18 is the current age. But right now, anybody who can walk into any store, gun store, if you're 18 years of age and purchase any weapon of your choice. I mean, you can get a shotgun, you can get an AK-47, a Glock, or whatever. You just go right in, and there's no question asked. There's no gun checks. There's no only asked about are you 18 years of age. Well, at that point, you think that's and at this point there's no test to take. There's no checking to see if you're a criminal or nothing. I mean, they trust you to say, hey, I'm good. And you may have a conviction, but that's why you find so many people right now who, when they get caught, they have guns. But right now, even as he's having this conversation, there's a discussion right now how they can lower the age from 18 to lower than that, to carry these guns. And so now, having said that, and our legislators, our governor, by the way, who was a former sheriff, and before he became the governor. Well, right now, all our laws that we have right now in St. Louis City, in Kansas City, we have to go by the same laws of the state. But even as we speak now, St. Louis City, I know for a fact, and I know for a fact in Kansas City, we have both of these metropolitan area cities now are trying to get laws passed that govern our city streets. But that means if you carry a gun, you can't see the St. Louis, You had to have a license to walk on the streets to go anywhere in Kansas City or St. Louis. What this would do is allow the cities to control their own destinies. Now, this is being fought against by our governor in legislature right now. Now, why is this so important? Well, the parade that we have with the Super Bowl Chiefs were one of the largest parades in our history in Missouri. Even like we had our Kansas City Royals baseball team, we had our St. Louis Cardinals, we had our St. Louis Rams had a very big parade, but it wasn't Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is one of those biggest events in the world. As we all know, we watch the games. Well, there's something bigger than the Super Bowl that's about to take place. You said, what? Yeah, the sports said, what? Yeah, well, right now, in 2026, that's 2 years from now, Kansas City, Missouri, we just was the home of the parades and also the home last year of the draft for the NFL draft. Well, Kansas City, Missouri will be home, will be hosting, what you want to call it, of the FA World Cup Soccer. Now, soccer is big all around the world. And matter of fact, it's growing more and more. Here in St. Louis, we now have our own soccer team. As a matter of fact, we're a professional soccer team, I should say, because kids play soccer all the time. And really being around the world, all they need is the ball. So right now, most of our countries are cut like Red talked about before in his prayers. But most of these countries got one thing, they get a soccer ball. And so now that FA World Cup soccer match will be coming to Kansas City to host 6 matches. That means it's like the Olympics. Some of that magnitude, you'll be here for 6 matches. That's a long time. That means teams from all around the world. They don't have the slightest idea who's coming, okay? But Kansas City, Missouri will be the home of the FIFA soccer matches. And what that means, we need to make some important improvements, okay, for guns on our streets. I know right now in St. Louis City, we're already right now have a meeting yesterday how they're trying to crack down. Matter of fact, we had red light cameras that were removed, but now those cameras are on the way back. In St. Louis, you've probably heard a lot of people die from the speeding. Not good at all. Not good. So right now, again, we got problems here, right here in River City, and in Kansas City, right? We're trying to deal with those. Now, if you live in Alaska, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, and Vermont, and Wyoming, and you're a low-income family with school-age kids, the longer you can get help from the federal government during the summertime for paying for your groceries. That's the time that the kids are out from school, that they got programs when they're in school, they get lunches and stuff. Well, this is something that's these states right now decided they did not want to be part of a program that would provide food, lunch for your young kids. And the reason is here is because in these cases, the governors of these states, all GOP governors, saying we do not want those federal programs to take place in our state. Well, that is actually hurting your people. Because all these states, I said before, are low income families, school-age kids. That's when they need food the most. The kids play all summer. They come home. I know I was raised down south. We all played all day long, and we always took lunch. One thing in the country, or in a place like that, you're gonna get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I do mean a real lunch, not just a snack. You get a lunch and a dinner, and those things are guaranteed to you. So right now, you're in these states right now, you're in big trouble. And this is not something that Ira said. So this is not good. This is something I just kind of make you alert before you come to your state. You say, well, what happened to me? And also, I almost said 4 days ago, but most recently, we had, we forever, well, let's digress a bit. Recently, Supreme Court knocked down the Roe versus Wade, meaning abortion. So since that time, you have had abortion rights all across the country. But most states right now are putting it on the ballot. Matter of fact, in Missouri again, we're fighting that also. But people, the state won't pass it also. So right now, the people get a ballot petition to do that, and they want to make sure that abortion becomes legal. Because people, the women, and see, first of all, I don't think no man. I got daughters, and I got a wife, and I got cousins, and all those people, young girls in my family, and granddaughters, and people like that. I can't tell them how to control their body, and I'm not going to try. And that's unfair. But right now, that abortion way has created a lot of chaos around the country, and so now, like other states, Missouri will have that on the ballot come this elections. Either signatures right now for on the petition drive, and let's say right now, normally it's called if you just one vote is illegal. Now they try to make it change the votes around and make it uneven. It's just chaotic stuff. But anyway, that's what right now. But I have said that we just get introduced to a new word. So they came out of nowhere called IVF, intro fertilization. Now this is a process where ladies' human eggs are fertilized outside the womb. Where the man's egg is outside the womb and they then fed into a human uterus. Now typically they get more than one egg, just in case something goes wrong, or if a person decides they want to have more baby in the future. And what this does, it allows women to actually, this is not like common in the black community, okay? Because it takes a little money to do something like this, okay? And so right now, the Republicans have created a firestorm because educated women who got good jobs, like even the Nikki Haley, who was running for president, she did this same process her own self when she went to have her kids later on in life. So right now, the Republicans yes, sir.
That's another form of genocide.
Oh, real. This is so funny, okay, that you would say that, and because now the Republicans are now trying to figure out now. This is something that they created, and this with Roe versus Wade. This is that Clarence Thomas had talked about earlier, and there's other thing that we had this conversation. We're playing right now about birth controls. All of this, okay. Well, all this affects how women in life now, and most of the old white men now, that's in the Republican Party right now, they tell you, we want our wives at home. We don't want them to be working women. We don't want them to have jobs. We don't want them to be educated. We want to head our house. But you can head your house, okay? But I guarantee you, those two incomes feel real good coming in. I know in my house it does. Okay, and I know in Scott's house the money feels good. We also, so again, this is not something that, but it having said that, all this is popping up, and right now, the IVF has caused a turmoil. Like already, the Supreme Court in Alabama ruled that on the 16th of February that the children ever should be considered human beings. Now, the city experts said could involve other states to follow suit, and that means it may become to your state. Now, also with these social inroads, that's big money that we have clinics all around the country where this is taking place, probably around the world, but it's about our country. Now, when the Republicans already have a problem trying to deal with the Roe versus Wade, this is going to be something that's going to be real hard to do. Because of who's in charge. So this is something to look out for this case. And also, this past week, a lady by the name Tisha James. We said last week about this, so we talked about Miss James being a very powerful black woman in this country. Last week we talked about her in the International Rifle Association going to court. Now, this case is about civil corruption with Mother Miss James and Mr. NRA and his former CEO, Mr. Wayne was here, and also the general counsel John Frazier, and also Mr. CFO, Mr. Wilson Phillips. Well, they lost their case. And now the NRA must pay $5 million. Well, Mr. LaFleur himself must pay, well, he said $5 million, but he's already paid $1 million. That's $40,000 to the state of New York. Now, they did not get in the death now. They can still do business in New York. Okay, so that's a good thing from there. Okay. Now, having said that, okay, before this jury came out to NRA, about 9 days ago, Mr. Letitia James won a landmark victory against former President Donald Trump. This got this. You're all the Iran ruling in her favor in a fraud case where Mr. Trump has to pay. Well, let's break it down this way. On a daily basis, if he can't pay in full, you got to pay $454 million to the state of. I wish it was under Missouri, state of New York. And now that comes out to about $87,000 a day with interest. $87,000 a day. Now, in this case, okay, there was charges against his son, both of his son, and also some other people that was involved there. And so now this is something that's going to be in the news for a while. I want to tell you a little bit about it, okay? And also, one of the things that we all trying to figure out what to do next in the House of Representatives. We're still trying to get this $95 billion security assistance package for Ukraine, and Taiwan, and trying to get it going. But right now, this is not taking place, and that's because Speaker Johnson has not convened, for a vote. And he pretty much feels right now that if he calls a vote, he's going to win. And then he also be like Kevin McCarthy, he would probably lose his sponsorship. Now, there's a Democrat by the name of Jim McGovern. The members and Jim McGovern, he's the top Democrat on the House Rules Committee. Now, he filed some legislation that on the 15th of February. But this legislation would do, we use as a vehicle for a discharge petition. Now, this is a rarely used procedural tool that eventually could force a vote on the bill if at least 218 members of the House vote in favor of it. But right now, the Republicans have only, I think, a 2-vote majority, and so that means that out of 435 members of Congress, they can vote to sign it. Now, if on the House rules, we came back and we'll begin collecting senators as soon as March 4th. Now, this is something that's very, 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 very good for the country, in my opinion. And also, around the world, we're still seeing, this crazy weather. You name it on any continent. As Reb and I always talk about here on the program, that there will be wars, rumors of wars in the Middle East right now. We're not quite sure as how this is going to turn out, but right now this is not good. And like I said, the ceasefire efforts underway in the Middle East. They have talks right now going on. They're in Paris right now, where they want to temporary ceasefire. Right now, Gaza has nothing left right now, and so I don't understand what Israel is trying to do. Netanyahu wants to stay president. Once he's not president, he's going to go to jail also. And that is at the back of this whole thing. And also, as the 23rd of this year, the Biden administration had wiped out, listen to this number, $136 billion, $136 billion, still counting its student loan debt for over 3.5 million borrowers. And that's about 4% of that forgiveness that came from changes to the public service loan program. This is good news. Again, if if you know a student right now, they probably got some type of relief on their student loan debt. And even as we speak now, there are new letters going out to people right now reminding them that they're still eligible and can still get assistance for them. As a matter of fact, Wednesday, President Biden announced an additional $1.5 billion in relief. And this package, the program targets borrowers who took loans for $12,000 or less. And that's a whole lot of people that's going to be getting that relief. And so that's going to be taking place, and that's very good for the community. And because we have to be surprised how many people got good paying jobs, but at the same time, like teachers, lawyers, where they can't get into their careers because almost had their salary going to those student loan debt. So that's a very good thing there. And also some of the things that crazy I heard and I had to laugh, Scott, you had to laugh from you on this one. Down in the South Carolina primary which is taking place today, this is where the Republican Party will be voting now for their primary, and this is a primary where you actually vote at. Well, right now they're voting in South Carolina today, and one of the things that's being said that President, I call him President, this is title for life, President Trump is saying now that as he's trying to reach out and get the black vote, trying to get the black vote now, that we should vote for him because with all this indictments, he feels like he's fighting. He feels like a black man now. You believe that? I don't know any black man that I know that can be practically short $4.5 billion. Who had that kind of money? I don't know any black.
None of us don't have that kind of money.
Rev, I don't know anybody that could possibly be indicted or 90 times and still be out of jail and still have money, okay, to still be fighting. That's me for real there. I mean,
they think they're above the law. The letter the spirit giving life.
Well, again, like I said, just because but like I said, you've been indicted 90 sometimes. Well, I don't know any black man, and I don't know only anybody really, not only black, anybody, I don't care who you are, that's been indicted 50 times, or even 20 times.
Right.
Still walking around.
Well, that's because he's rich. And he got them crooked people working with him.
Well, right now, I don't know about that. Well, he is rich, okay, but now he has to pay. Let me say this one more time: $87,502 a day. A day, he has to pay that every day, and that goes on top of the $454 million that he has to pay. And as we speak right now, I need to say this: he's trying now to get somebody to. He want to appeal that. Well, for him to appeal that, he has to get somebody that will should take on $500 million in debt. Because you got to get 120% of the loan, the debt is needed for him to appeal. So I don't know if he had $500 million set aside someplace, he may be in good shape. But so far that hasn't taken place. Now, really, I don't know, me personally, Scott, I don't know about you either, okay? I couldn't sleep too well if I was somebody. That kind of money. $1 million is bad enough, but I slept up $450 million. That's a lot of money. That's a very lot of money.
Not with the person that's over the system, which is Satan.
Yeah, well, I tell you what,
he come to kill and destroy.
Well, Reb, I hate to check. Well, I have to agree with you that anyway, like we shall see. So come Monday, there's gonna be a lot of news about what is gonna take place there, and also we'll be find out in the primary that's taking place down in South Carolina, how that's going to go out in Mississippi. Well, I mentioned about the IVF issue that she's had, that she's been a part of. How's that all going to play out, as we go forward? Because right now, all this has done is you got a lot of women pissed off more so, and it's all started, by the way, from the pandemic, not from the pandemic, from the Roe versus Wade by the Supreme Court. And also there are about 10 cases or more around the country where President Trump is saying that he's immune to prosecution. And also there are several, there's like 30 states where they're trying to keep him off the ballot. So right now, each state has its own rules. So as we hear this news, okay, it may be different in your state. I can't tell you, but each state has its own rules and regulations now. So we're in St. Louis City and the county together. We work together right now. Like you hear me say every week, okay, about murders and deaths continue. Well, right now in St. Louis City and the county, create a regional plan that will curb area murders and how they're confronting people, who have repeatedly involved in crime. And aims to start this in October. And in addition to the St. Louis City, and also our President Board of Alderman and the Board of Alderman himself, they're considering getting speed cameras, put in place. Very good. And I also have said that we're going to take a small break. We can say this: carjacking, murder, continue to rise in St. Louis City and in the counties. And this is Ferguson USA, HotTopics.com, named our folks. That's Rev, that's Scott, and we right back. Mr. Check the boat, and Mr. Johnson. Life's good. It's time to get out of here. Welcome back to London to the USA comment on beautiful Saturday. This is one of those rare days where we have a part two. Last week we could not finish our discussion when we were one of the hot topics in the especially black community in the business world right now. There's the word you can have DEI, and this diversity and inclusion, which right now is a program that's meant to improve relationships in the corporate world, in colleges, in schools, and also in our entire lives in the black community. And there's some issues going on, okay, but now having said that, there are several issues going on right now that I also have to ask how our beautiful, I said that beautiful, but he is a beautiful man. Mr. Chuck DeBow, this question, okay. Chuck, as a businessman, And as you already know, former President Donald Trump is hit with a debt of $454 million by the state of New York, and we had to pay $87,000 a day. What were your thoughts on that in general? Where this company has gone afoul of the state so many times?
It's all bad. I just feel that, I mean, take it from any approach. So first we'll just say justice to a citizen or a person going through the justice system. The whole issue really isn't so much about him as much as it is about an industry and how they evaluate properties or for loans. And
such as.
Okay, so you own a house. You want to go in and get a loan for your business or for anything that you want, a personal loan. You might be building something else, or you might be doing something with your business, or you might just say, I just need some money. And so how much will we loan you? Well, it's first thing they do. The SBA does this all the time. They want to know, what are your assets? And once you put them on paper, then it determines who determines the value of that asset and how much money can we give you based on the value of your assets. Because that's really, you go back to the Wild Wild West, that's how they were taking people's property. Oh yeah, come on, get this money, and then they decide a month later the whole thing is due. Well, wait a minute, we agreed a year, whatever. That's getting off a little bit different subject, but in a nutshell.
No, go ahead. No, I said the same thing. I said the same thing.
I want to explain it so everybody understands it. But that's the gist of this. And so it turns into fraud when somebody wants to dispute what you put down on that paper for what it is. I mean, what value did you write down on this paper, and what is it really? So then, from a government or a prosecutorial disposition, they come in with another valuation and say, "Oh, you overstated your value." But then, in reality, like take Mar-a-Lago down there. Mar-a-Lago, they may have put on there that it was worth, like on the paper, they may have put on there that it was worth, I don't remember the numbers, but something like 50 million or something like that at the time. And then they came back and said, oh, you overinflated. It was only 25 million. But the point of it is now,
that's what the state of Florida, okay? We all have our own, we get assessments every year on the value of our home. And the city can give
that's right. And it changes. It goes up or down.
It goes down, yeah.
So that's one aspect. Then there's the other side of the issue, like from a taxation situation on what's the value of your property. And that's when you try to undervalue it or put it to the minimum so you have less taxes. But then the reality was that over a period of time, and we're in the market. So what is it worth? Well, it's worth what somebody will pay for it. So then you go down the street somewhere in a neighborhood. I heard these guys talk about it on a talk show, and they said there's a house, not even a golf club and all that, down the street that sold for like $200 million or something. At the time, he was evaluated at a different price. But anyway, that's the core of the issue on the nature of the type of fraud they're discussing. And the real thing comes down to it is that the banks aren't complaining. The people, the lenders, the people that have the liabilities, there's no victim in this. And it's all being done at this point in time, and it's unprecedented. They've never done this before, like this, in the state of New York. And unfortunately, go ahead.
Well, I heard one of your gentlemen that you know well, Mr. Meeks, who's a congressman from New York, and he was saying that the harms is done that the state of New York has maintained all the cleaners of the cities and the money that normally go into taxes on the property, like on those kind of when that $450 million that's going to go toward the state of New York as far as being able to maintain the state itself. And with the money that he had been lied about, and one thing that you could have gave an example was in New York, his penthouse, he said would triple the size. I mean, in the whole area. And so I mean, so now he has to actually pay the value of all those properties that he himself said was low prices. And so now that means the state of New York can now maintain some and it be less hard on other people in the state of New York who have to pay their taxes.
Again, where government has got their hands all over this.
Yes, they do. All
we can go the states all right back. You could go right back to the same people and say, you're the same people that are taking and reducing city services because you're giving room service to illegal immigrants and giving them credit cards and giving them housing and jobs while they go out and beat up these cops. And then arrest them and then deport them, send them back home. So we're getting exacerbated the whole issue because we can go take this man's money and he just happens to be running for president and leading. They didn't do this to anybody else. You could go through and pick out hundreds, thousands of businesses in New York and do this same thing if they really wanted to do it. That's why I don't think it's going to get too far. Because they're already, you go on to the financial channels, I think it's CNBC, Bloomberg, those kind of places. Oh man, are they screaming bloody murder? And they don't have to love Trump, but they're not going to sit there and allow a precedent of law to be set down. And there is some consistency in the level of the settlement that they did in Georgia. The woman said, defamation of character. He said bad things about us. And what they give her? $300 million too? Something crazy like that for a defamation of character case. So these are all unprecedented things in just the annals of law, but at the same time, what is he guilty of? And is it a judgment by a court that is determined whether it's guilty or not guilty or what? Who's making the laws up? So you brought this up, and it's a thing that's going to affect all businesses.
Oh, well, I know, Chuck. Right now, $87 a day is nothing to snuff at. But right now, this is you mentioned that the courts the jurors themselves in the city of New York said well, not in this case, okay. This was done by the judge, okay. I was about to ask you before I said this, okay, was about the National Rifle Association about that case also. While we just kind of had a little break, what we talking about? Cases in New York City where the Miss James have some of the largest people in the country, and then one judgment, and like in that case with the NRA, Mr. Lapierre violations, came to a total of almost $5 million. And in that case, they're paying the money to the state. So to me, the state is having the state is having a field day because of her. Would you agree?
Well, are you talking about the DA, the prosecutor?
The National Rifle.
That's the other thing about it that troubling me, both in Georgia and here. it's black people at the front of this. I mean, it's like we're being used. Why does this particular person say, all right, I'm going to totally go out here and pick something huge and unprecedented, never done before, and I'm going to go out here. It's like, okay, all right. Now this is the home of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
New York represents the #1 economy in the world. Yeah, with cash flow and all that, and they're gonna get. And you can go through history. You can find out what happens when the government starts going. The people with the money will push the button. It will go back. So this is just, you're just asking a guy that maybe is in various types of conversation. I'm not really in those Wall Street meetings and rooms and find out the real, but I do listen to.
We all do.
They're just.
I don't know anybody that I know that's in the rooms, okay? Now, also, Don Johnson, I get Chuck at this time. We just talked about what we just talked about as far as statistics. Matter of fact, she's elected Attorney General for the state of New York. In fact, he's the first black Attorney General in the entire history, by the way. Who was it? Letitia James. So anyway,
I'm sorry. I thought were you saying Mr. Johnson is in that type of work?
Oh no! Oh, no, by no means. Okay, no meaning. When Don Johnson, okay, when Don, you see a little bit about he's working with Harrisville University. Don, tell people a little bit about your background.
Well, my background, basically, I have degrees in psychology, counseling psychology, which is the study of human beings, their behavior, plus and minuses, letting their behavior speak for them, not their words. And then listening to this whole situation, I've come up with one situation. Trump and other people at Wall Street, this did not happen yesterday. This is their means of doing business with each other. So we know here in St. Louis or in other areas that when it comes to taxation, they can have somebody walk by your property here in St. Louis and make an evaluation of how much it's worth and charge you that taxation. So if we look at Trump and the material that he has been allowed by the people in those areas to take a walk. Now all of a sudden somebody want to go, well, this is what this is, and this is. They've been doing business like that in Wall Street forever. It's just you don't make that public. That's all it is. That's why Trump can appeal. If I get in a situation like that, I don't have the money to appeal, which keeps me out of jail, even if they come to the conclusion that I have broken the law or that I'm in violation. So we get this over with. Trump goes to court. Is he going to have to pay? Has he created a crime that will incarcerate him? I doubt it seriously, because what? That's the American way of doing business at a certain level.
Okay, now that's consistent right now, okay, as we come down to DEI, which we were discussing last week, which is something that's been done around the country, that has an adverse effect on people of color, especially black women. So, Chuck, I sent you some information. I said, Don, to make this week to continue the conversation. So, since you saw us all that, exactly what is DEI and what is the harm it's doing? What is taking place now? Why is so much? Why there's so much? So many things against it in the community, in the white community.
Let's focus that question a little bit there.
Okay, go ahead.
Was the first part of that, what is DEI?
What is the first of all, what is DEI, okay? And now and then my next question behind that, okay, why is the GOP or whoever right now, so many people right now trying to do away with it? Because it had been proven to be very successful the way what was created to do.
That is Now, that's when you kind of like peel back the onion and say, what's really going on here?
There you go. You want to peel on it?
What is really going on? Because, you just made a very interesting pendulum swing. We just swung out of New York with Donald Trump, which is totally Democratic, to swinging over here to the DEI thing, and it is very Republican driven, although it isn't rock solid partisan politics. There's some other stuff involved with that. And so DEI is a thing that let's say it grew out of affirmative action. Okay. And it really wasn't a household word until really, and this is just my opinion. Everybody can, a person. I don't think it was in the headlines as much until George Floyd. It wasn't. I think it. I mean, in terms of the money that was. Now, if you look at when were these DEI C-suite jobs created, the date is right there. It was all George Floyd related, and it was a reaction to what was perceived, or it was in fact, but there was a world stage spotlight put on systemic racism.
Okay, now just something right there. Okay, when people say we talk about George Floyd, okay, that's a black man that was killed in Minneapolis. When was murdered, I should say, not killed. And here again, it was called
the guy was convicted of murder.
Right, he was convicted of murder.
He's in jail now for murder.
And you see, he's also appealed on right now. So for the record, okay, but that did change. There was a high-profile case there where it highlighted racism, and from there, the white community became very sensitive about how we can kind of slow this, not slow it down, but appease the black community right now. Right now, he has kind of created an uproar in a community, and like said, that he was guilty of doing, and that means that there was not. It was a common practice in some people's eyes. So right now, Chuck, that's who George Floyd was, and that's why from that time forward, he was highlighted for the first time. I agree with you. Before that time, DEI was a word we didn't even know what that word meant.
Well, the average person it wasn't in their consciousness like that. If you were trying to do business with a corporation, and I mean, let's face it, what was so diversity, and what is diversity? Well, then it kind of directly links to minority. So what's the definition of minority? And is there any way we can put it in a jar and put a lid on it and say, here's what it is? Or is it an open air thing that kind of flows and changes, and we use it how it's to the advantage of something or another in one thing or another? And so that's where it went all the way back to affirmative action. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like if you're gonna attack the demon, in this case the snake, that's how it's demonized and put, here's the problem we have in our society, and blah blah blah, and this is where it goes. So we're gonna cut the head of the snake off, and they went all the way back to affirmative action. And affirmative action, for the most part, took the shape or the tip of the spear, the forefront, the area where affirmative action was happening was really education based. It was additions to secondary education institutions, particularly of the prestigious ones. Mm-hmm. And as, let's say, blacks or people that would have never gotten in or considered for a Harvard or any Ivy League or any top level, and again, branded as a top level school, And then that kind of grew into where there were white folks suing black universities or HBCUs and saying, I should be able to get in there or whatever. So they put the edge on the other side of the sword, of the blade. And as that came about, then you started saying, and really before all that, or irrespective from an economical standpoint, that's where the 1964 Civil Rights Act was put into legislation by LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. And that was that. In my argument, my point is, from a scientist, if you want to call it like that, or what's the black and white of it, we have a history, we have data, we have best practices of what did 1964 Civil Rights Act do. And it facilitated and allowed for inclusive practices to allow more of our society, more of our ecosystem to participate in the economic development of the country. In other words, we're going to try to let this tide lift all boats, or more of boats. But at the time, minority, or who 64 Civil Rights Act was written for, was in the time of the Civil Rights Movement. And who was out there getting their heads bashed in, getting the churches blown up, the buses set on fire. And what we were doing, it was the Martin Luther King era of civil rights. That's where that came from. And they wanted to say, these people deserve a chance. Why are we going out of our way to keep cutting them out? And that's, and it's evolution from slavery all the way up to emancipation and what happened, and looking at somebody somewhere saw, whoa, wait a minute, segregation may be helping them. And an example of that, because you can argue, did segregation help, did segregation hurt? Well, it always is good to have both. You have choices, have both sides. We can go over here if we want to, but we can also just stay at home in our own neighborhood and be okay. That's what Black Wall Street demonstrated. Are you kidding? It upset people so badly that they bombed us. And it took years and years and years for me to realize, when the Gap Band, Charlie Wilson, when they talked about you dropped the bomb on us, on me, they were talking about that's where they're from. They're Gap. It was right there. That's what that song was talking about then. And the economic flourish, it flourished. People were living good. They were doing well and happy. Very well. And we didn't have to worry about depending on anybody else. Well, that's what Booker T was talking about 100 years before that. That's what he was saying. So let's bring this back to DEI. So then DEI, through the years, so let's see, that's what happens when you start homogenizing a pure solution. It changes. It becomes a compound chemical, or it's like you have three primary colors, and when you start mixing them together and doing these things, you get all this other stuff.
Could I interrupt you for just a minute?
Yes.
And looking at the affirmative action and minorities thing, when they included, certain aspects where they included women, there were some Caucasian women whose husbands were making millions of dollars, and they were at home with the kids. They got tired of being at home with the kids, so seeing under those pretenses that this is affirmative action and women and this, that, and the other, they went and got a job making $80,000. So what did that do? That puts the people that look like us, people of color, to the back of the line. And that's what I think the underlying part of it was. So we expected, okay, we're going to be in places where we've never been before. No, the women that were at home with the babies, they got tired of being at home. I got a brain too. I want to get out here and get a job too. The people that were hiring them looked like them. The people that were hiring them were the heads of these corporations. So what did they do? they hired somebody to look like their wife or their daughter, or was their wife or their daughter. I mean, if you look at
they can still stay home and take care of the kids. They got a check.
I'm just saying that cut off what we perceive that our women, etc., were going to get into these positions and get trained and change the economy, and that's going to throw another circle in there. Because what? Our women are going to start making more money than our men. So, we got to get with that relationship because what? I grew up where my father was the head of the household. So in this situation, this economy right now, a woman's going to make more than a man. But in this situation we're talking about, again, the sisters were pushed in the back. Because what? The guys that were doing affirmative action, the government, etc., their daughters, their wives were getting these positions because why? They put it in their qualification that, hey, women and minorities. Their wife was a woman. But she was at home and she had raised her kids and she got tired of being there because why? She may have gone there, got an education also, but she was saying, well, I want to get out and make some money myself. They look like each other. So they hire each other.
Guess who else became a minority?
Thank you. So I'm just saying, they lie through the words. And that's what we have to look at, the lie through the words, which they don't want to be accountable for. But if we look at these jobs and who's making money in these certain households, they're getting away with murder because why? He was making so much money to begin with. Now she's making just as much. Now that she came from a poor situation, but she got tired of being at home.
Yeah, and keep going, because this is what DEI has led.
Yeah, and I know.
So they added. Did you say something, Scott?
You know, I don't know in the cable industry. I know for a fact when I was improving minorities here in St. Louis, okay, that all of a sudden the guys, well, the women, said, well, so she's a minority. And at that time, we had a lady who was my boss, okay, and she made a suggestion to the guys, why don't you put your wife down here as a minority? And so right now, that thing spread all around the world and around the country, okay? And so during that time period, you found that a lot of women the country was doing, say, I got a double minority. I got a black and I got a female. And so again, the black female was being elevated because she's black and she's a female. And so now they're saying, hold on a second, like in the case of Harvard, the lady that lost her job because she didn't answer the question. Well, she couldn't answer the question, okay, because she don't make the rules at Harvard. She just that facilitates, that makes sure things go the way they're supposed to go. But she was black. So any man sitting there would do the same thing. But they took that as an opportunity right there, okay, so well, guess what? They got a DEI program going on here at Harvard, okay, that's not right. We want her fired. Then the people that put money into Harvard said, well, yeah, we want to look at this a different way. Because they put in donations of $100 million, and the gentleman was doing that. His wife was doing the same thing as other lady, as the gay was. And what Don just said here, it is not an even playing field. Even today, it's not even playing field. So like you
So continuing down this path of this conversation we started, we were talking about what is DEI and how has it evolved and where it went, and how. See, the one we didn't add to it is whether you get to triple dip or so is the LGBT.
Oh my God!
They're a minority now, so you could be. You could be a white man, but you can come back and get it on one side and say, I'm majority, and just walk on in there in a suit and be blonde hair and blue eyed, and I'm good. Or you can say, well, wait a minute, let me get over here on this minority side too, or send my partner, or we're going to register in this thing over here like that. And each time, back to 1964, the minority, the black, the Hispanic, the basic fundamental thing of what all this stuff was designed and built for.
We got deep.
We keep getting less and less and less and less.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gone down. So it went to that. then this George Floyd kind of thing happened, and there was all this rush flurry, and according to Forbes magazine, it was well over 40 billion, because they measured 40 billion that never left the bank, that was pledged to. You had all these people saying they doing it. Well, we know Facebook put up about 20 million, Amazon maybe about 10 or 20, IBM or not IBM, Microsoft, and all these companies are putting up this crazy money, and it was really under the guise of Black Lives Matter. And so we all had issues like Black Lives Matter. Is it really, who is it? What are they marching? Is it a civil rights movement? Okay, so what are they asking for? What are they doing? Well, then, we talked about this before. When you go on their website to make the donation, you click on the donate button, and it looks the same, but if you look up there at the URL, the money's going to All Blue, which is the Democratic fundraising financial system. And it turns out, in the hindsight, we're how many years afterwards now, they're going back and doing the books. They're trying to figure out where did all that money go that Black Lives Matter had, and a portion of it went to those leaders, and then you had the families of the people saying, well, we didn't get nothing, and then you had all this money that went back through the political partisan entities that were supposedly used to bail people out of jail and defense for the things they were doing, and all different kinds of stuff like that. So then you had another part of corporate society was saying, we want to support, we want to do something, but we don't want it to be politicized. We don't want it to be, we don't want to be engaged like that. And so there was this rush, and as we got to that point, that's when there was a chief diversity officer in a number of Fortune 500 companies. And
yes,
you go
a new position.
And then the people that they were hiring had no experience, didn't know nothing about it. A lot of them, let's just say they were blonde hair, blue eyed, and had never even sat in a classroom with a black person, hadn't been to church with a black, don't have a friend that's black, don't know nothing about diversity, but they're in there, and they spent a year, 2 years trying to figure it out. But we got some money, we'll spend it over here, we'll give it to this group, or we'll give it to that group. But there was no strategic plan or nothing that come out with a blueprint. And that's not necessarily finger pointing at or blaming anybody, other than we got to blame ourselves in that. Do we have a blueprint? Do we have a strategy? Do we have a plan for whatever it is we're doing? And there may be, but this gets so directed over here, directed over there, whether it's intentional or not. So back to this pendulum swing I was talking about. So right now, who's complaining about the Trump scenario? It's capitalists, it's people that make money, people that have other businesses that they know once this door is open, they can come after anybody. And then swing back over here to this DEI affirmative action thing. And who's complaining?
Right there, that's because you asked a question a few minutes ago, okay? In the case of the black female again, okay? In Washington, D.C., the judge there is a black female. A black female lawyer who's a judge now. In the case of in Atlanta, Georgia, another black attorney general female, okay, and another one in New York, Ms. James, a black female again. Well, it just so happened, okay, that these particular states and cities, by using the DEI program, more than likely allow these women to move to the front of the class. And with the assistance, when we call DEI, would you agree on that?
Well, you could even go up further and just talk about both those particular cities right there have black mayors. Almost top to bottom with it.
Well, I'm talking about New York State, though. I said New York State.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then the location,
a whole different animal when you go to the state level. But
and also
from the academic standpoint, yeah. I mean, if I say we didn't get nothing out of affirmative action, something like that, man, them people will come in and hang me over college admissions and what we did get out of it. So, yeah, there's a lot of positivity. I mean, you and I may be people that got, I mean, getting into college or whatever. I'll be the first to, I didn't get admitted because I was black. I can tell you that. I didn't go down that program. I didn't, you know, I would, you know, I came from a school where they were trying to just recruit you because of your credentials, you know. So, but and on the other hand, I wasn't trying to get into Harvard either, you know.
Yeah, and also, I know one of the things that changed my life was when I took a job with the city of St. Louis, where I was the first cable compliance officer when they wanted to build a cable system, and I didn't get the job, okay, because I was black, because I helped write the description for the job itself, and you know, and had all the necessary qualifications, and that's why I was able, you know, to get mad. So it wasn't because in those days, back in 1985, you know, we weren't quite yet getting privileged, okay, to do that. And I went to Wilberforce University, which, you know, HBCU also. I think Don, you went to University of Missouri. Which probably was trying to get blacks in, but you came in as a football player. So that changed your projections. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, in that situation, I came as a football player, but I was kind of like the exception to the rule. I went to university. Again, I didn't do well on I think the SAT or something like that, because I've been thinking about it. And so they looked at me and said, you know, you need to go to junior college. Okay, I went to junior college. What they tell me at junior college? What are you doing here? I said, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm going to school. They go, no. Academically, you could have gone to any university you could have wanted to go to, because why? Academically, you are that heavy. You're not a typical person here as far as a student or a football player. So when I got to the University of Missouri, grades were not a situation, and they realized that. So I was going to graduate. I got a master's. So I was kind of like the exception to the rule, because I was not into the situation to get NFL contract, etc. I was there to realize one thing: if I get this degree, it's going to be with me till the day I draw my last breath. And I wanted to impose that type of ideology in more of the athletes that were up there. But some of them were there thinking they were going to the NFL, and therefore they flunked out of school. The university kept them punched into courses that would allow them just to stay eligible until their eligibility ran off. Then the young man was lost, but the university was looking at the first recruits that were coming for the years to come.
Well, see, so really, that was almost DEI right there at that level. You know, it's been going on for quite a while.
But you know, we had the quota system, because when you look at one of the situations, Kellen Winslow put in to be the the AD up there. Now, Kellen had some education. He had gone there. He was with the San Diego Chargers, etc. But Kellen's face was just there because it was dark. Not dark, but you know, dark to qualify that. When he didn't get the job, they did not try to make him an assistant AD or step it up that way. And that's the way it's been at the University of Missouri, which again, that's the way I look at the situation. That's the way history proved, because what? They haven't talked to Kellen since, unless they just want to bring him onto the football field or give him an award or something like that. So in that situation, that door has not opened up at the University of Missouri.
And also on the University of Missouri, Chuck, in case you're not aware, we had a female athletic director who came in, by the way, and changed the program for the best. Okay, where she was raising money, doing things, and so the University of Missouri decided to say, guess what? This lady's doing great things here, and she pretty much, we don't know what she's doing, how she's doing. We're gonna put a committee over her, for her to report to the committee, to find out what she's doing and how what she's doing, and she quit immediately. So again, some women right now not understanding how this DEI is being forced out against her, in more ways than one. Would you agree?
Well, I think you can look at that one way, that there's a mid-mode mentality, which they're going to do it their way, they want it their way, but again, they want to be perceived in other academic endeavors as one of the leaders, and that's the biggest joke that we're ever told.
Okay, now, Don, if you haven't worked with the with Harrisville University, you also been a former disc jockey on one of the top radio stations in St. Louis now. So now you kind of got in some areas, okay, where you was a unique black person in those positions. Am I right?
Yes, I would go. I would agree with that.
And
But
so again,
in that situation, when the door was open, I had people that didn't look like me to help open the door. Number one, when I walked in Casey, I got to talk to the head man's son. You know, he took to me, he asked me questions, he told me to get back with him. I did that. When I started wanting to get in, I came to John Hewlett, which Hewlett is still with Casey to this day. He's also the PA announcer. John took an interest in me. We accept a friendship, brother to brother. The way he knew my family, I knew his family. Then JC came in, and JC kind of bought into it that I was worth it also. So in order for me to get my first job and get a contract like everybody else had that was on the air, JC and John went in there and talked to administration for me. So I didn't get to talk to them. But they felt like I was worth it. And again, that's a situation where everybody in the room looked like each other. But God had opened the door for me that those two, which thought I was worth it, went in there and presented myself to the administration, and the administration bought what they're selling, because if they listened to me, I was worth what I was doing. And that's what they tried to tell them, that, you know, for some reason now, people are getting into this guy's voice or the way he carries himself, and they would like to hear more of him. And when they told me that, I couldn't believe it. So in that situation, there were others that spoke for me in order to implement a change in a white radio station.
Okay, now, Chuck, now, see, having said that, here's again, okay, where like with Harvard University, this type of white radio station here in the St. Louis, they wanted to get black listeners to come to their station. Okay, in the case of Harvard University, they wanted, when they hired Miss Gay, they hired her because, and there was to be the president of Harvard University, that's not something you just walk in the door and you just get just like that. Am I right, Chuck?
Yeah, that's right.
And so she passed the qualifications. But again, at the end of the day, okay, there was a fight going against DEI, and they were looking for a face they could put out there and get national attention to it, and she was the first at that time. Now, also, by the way, people not aware, she did go back to, she's still at the university. She's still making good money, okay? They said, but you just can't get paid to be over here.
I think
Go
that's
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Don.
I think that's something we have to watch out for. They're still sellouts. They're still sellouts the way I perceive it, and I'll give you an example. Now, you know, back in the time when we were on the plantation, they had one of us that were the overseers that was watching the rest of us, okay? And everything he thought that he had overcome, and they were going to treat him like part of the family. But no, when he got too old, they replaced him. Now, the same situation seemed to happen in some of these organizations. You'll get somebody that looks like me and you, but they don't have our best interests at heart, because why? They're not going to go in there and keep the system accountable. They're going to make so much money, and they're going to be their boy. So when they need a black face to be in front of the camera, or a black face, and we doing this thing there, they done bought somebody out. That's why he's got the car, he's getting along, and he's willing to sell his people out. You know, now, I have a real problem with that person. I'm not a violent person. When I see somebody like me selling out the rest of us and not making this company accountable, it just takes a lot of energy out of me.
And that's deceit.
Yeah. Okay, now, Chuck, as the head of the NASDAQ Human Commerce, and we don't see the Missouri Human Commerce, I find myself, not afraid to go in some places and use the word black, okay, as while we're here, that we want equality, or we're not asking for equality, we just want to ask for a chance, okay, to get a contract, or a chance to be part of something that's in some cases state contracts, other contracts, in public contracts, but we just want to be treated fairly. That's all we ask for.
Can we look at Trump for a minute? Who's Trump's boy? He got a doctor, right? And he put him over the housing situation. Give me a break. But when Trump wanted to say something, he had his one boy that he could show he had somebody of color in a position in his administration. This late in life, he was allowed to let that go by. Republicans didn't have a problem with that.
No. When you fill those jobs at a certain level, okay, that are high visible, you know, you got to have somebody to cover there. You know, that's just, you know, some Don and Chuck, you know, the DEI has been in effect for years. They just gave it a different name. You know, could we all agree on that?
Yeah, we could agree on that. I like to interject something when you finish.
Okay, Chuck, go ahead. What are your thoughts? You agree, Chuck?
With DEI.
No, let me hit Chuck on this one. Don, okay. Chuck, you agree that this DEI been in existence a very long time, but they hadn't came up with a name for it. Would you agree, Chuck?
Yeah, but I'm saying that the roots of it started in 1964.
Okay, I agree. Okay, we agree on that.
Yeah.
You know, we can all agree on that. Then we had to have a black face, someplace in there, and for in those days, blackface. But along the way, you know, what happened was, this I was opinion here, that the white female got into the mix. Then we had the HBCQ, what you want to call them, the alphabet people, they got into the mix. And also then we got all the Asian people come from other countries now. We are minorities also. But at the same time, we'll sit in one spot and everybody can't be minority, but we're the only ones taking the hit, even like we just found out. Before Johnson did what he did, black was getting beat up, hoes, killed, lynched. When Johnson made his decision to do what he did, well, fast forward and now, we are still the black people who are the one who fought for it right now. We're the ones right now that been pushed backwards. But all the other people, like the white females and other you know, people that's, you know, the gays and what have you, they're being saying, you can come in, okay, but the blacks cannot come into the position. Is there any truth to that?
Say that again.
I want to ask you a question. Yes, even with this present administration, you know, we have a gay guy in this present administration. Again, how did the gays get in? They came in under affirmative action in the black situation. The majority of them that are representing getting these jobs are not black. So again, they play the word game because what? That's the game that we play in the United States. We play the theory game. Affirmative action is a theory. DEI is a theory. We hear it as a reality. They talk it as a theory.
I'd have to agree with you there, and I'd say that's a fresh focusing of it. But so you know, I'm a little bit more quiet here because government is screwed up.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
You know,
yes,
government is screwed up. And anytime we're looking for them to solve it, and you know, I can't. I'm sorry, I just can't be saying we going in and we asking for this and we asking for that.
No.
Yeah,
Come on.
You're only gonna be disappointed to go through if everything we've been talking about has a premise in the government, except when we went back over here, we're talking about Black Wall Street. That was reality in terms of us doing business with ourselves.
Like you said, you got the bomb. You got the bomb.
I mean, you know,
they got the bomb. They got the bomb, Chuck.
So let me give a family example. Family example is my uncle. They owned a moving company in Indianapolis, and they're a black moving company. But the father, my grandfather, he said every society should have a black doctor. You should have a black dentist. You have somebody to go to in your neighborhood because you couldn't go over here or over there and use those businesses, and they did not want you as a client customer. So by being that black moving company, they also got known for being able to move your stuff and not breaking it. So when they were moving, because they weren't big, gruff, like, I was talking brand like Mayflower or somebody like Mayflower Movers. They had moving vans and all that, but they were kind of industrial or callous, or just come in, grab your stuff up, take it, and move it. These guys would come in and move antiques and wrap it with care and do all that. And then all of a sudden, the rich white folks started wanting to use these black guys, because they're going to come in here and with care. They care. And they became the number one moving company because of the quality of the service that they delivered. And what happened with that? Oh, yeah, they started charging you for that. We ain't going to break your stuff, or we're going to make sure it gets to where it's supposed to be, or we're not going to scratch it, or we can move that piano from here and get it over there. That's what we're perfecting now. We're going back in with accreditation, standardization, certification, as well as training and technical support. Just get out and compete. And whether the government is that place where you could go into the government and one guy over here got a hammer that costs $20, but the guy that got the contract, his hammer's $150. What's wrong with that? And they're the same hammer. So, the game, the system, it is what it is. And as we understand that, that's where, when the economic power matches up with the mental power, when the brain starts connecting with the wallet, and we're putting it in, that's where the funny thing is. There's a young brother from the Nation of Islam out of Indianapolis has written some books and done some things on black economics and black economic development, and the dollar, the economic power of the American black community rates as the 5th largest economy in the world. If you aggregate it, I think it's 2.6 trillion, or it's somewhere up in that area, depending on who you ask. But we're the only community where we buy everything and don't own anything. We don't make anything. So we're the top consumers in the world. You can look, and so here's the funny thing about DEI. Oh, when you look at TV, it's DEI galore, isn't it?
Oh my God!
Black people on everything: hosting, producing, writing, singing and dancing, performing, all over the Super Bowl, everything. I mean, they even got to the point now where a black woman could be with a white man, or an Asian guy with a black woman, whatever the case may be. They got this thing so diversified and hashed up, and gay people and men kissing each other, women kissing in commercials. That's diversity. About consumption. But don't dare go ask to see, can I get in the bank and get a loan, or can I run my business?
Abomination.
We're going to let you spend your money.
But I can follow what you're saying, and I've had some input in the trying to see on the college level that we kind of stop that situation that they go to college, they get in debt, they get out, they get a job, and they realize that they're in so much debt that they don't know how to economically plan for the future. Now, when I was down there at Aristotle, there were some kids that graduated. They were getting out. I told them one thing: be as money conscious as you can. In other words, don't go out here and buy a new car. Don't go out here and get in a bunch of debt. For 5 years, I want you to put away as much money as you can. Well, I said, no, put away as much money as you can. Don't go away. Don't go out here buying this because you can get it, because what? They're going to give you credit to buy this and credit to buy this, and you got to pay for school anyway. So don't go out and do this. But for 5 years, invest your money, live as cheaply as you can, and after that, it's going to start growing, and you will have more invested in your future than if you go out here now, graduate, feel like you got so much debt to pay for going to school, that you have to stay living with your parents, etc., and you're going to get you a new car, and no, you don't go out in the economy and do that when you graduate. If you do get a job, you put that money away and you start letting that money grow. Just do it for 5 years. If you put money away for 5 years, you're going to be a different person in 5 years, because what? You economically going to be on a totally different level.
Now Don, okay, Chuck, Don was at Harrisburg University, is HBCU here, and Don was a counselor there. For how many years, Don, were you down there at the university?
I was down there for about 13.
Right. Okay, so he had opportunity to see both ends of the spectrum, as well as able to to work. Like he just mentioned the 5-year theory there, but something that Don just said, we all agree. This DEI has been a theory that's been practiced and predicated on us for years and years and years and years. They just kept changing the name of it. Nothing like I said, nothing new under the sun. I think that's how we heard that real. But at the same time, when we had this conversation, I said earlier, the prosecuting attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, got elected by the people, and she just happened to be a black female, but she excelled as a system. And they said they got a double. They said in Atlanta, well, guess what? You can't say we're racist because we got a black female, black and a female, so we need the double qualifications. In the state of New York, they said, guess what? Which is a state, pretty much like white state, like Georgia is a white state. I said, well, guess what? Atlanta is different, Mississippi, but in D.C., we did the same thing. The judge that was appointed to the case there, there had to be another black female again that was at the top of her class, and that again comes from probably the DEI theory. We got a black female judge here, and she has 2 qualifications.
Can I add something to what you're saying?
Sure, go ahead, please. It's all through the street ball here.
You should have a sticker that says with those people in these jobs, one is not enough. That's what we have to look at. One is not enough.
Sure ain't.
Because when you go to the Supreme Court, they ain't just got one Caucasian there. They got a whole bunch of them. Now, they just got another sister there, but I think with this affirmative action deal is one is not enough. I can go all the way to Trump. One is not enough. Dr. Ben was not enough, okay?
That's why I said
they think if they get one, we've done our affirmative action program. And that's the biggest lie that was ever told.
Like right now, Chuck just mentioned that the director of transportation right now he's gay. I mean, so that's a job that he got as a minority. As far as they would put down, on the applications, that they're saying, we're meeting minorities here.
But what is that telling you though? That they have a way to put the definition the way they want it to get their people back at the front of the line.
Yep.
Again, we're dealing with a theory, then we deal with reality.
5 minutes, gentlemen.
Allows them to stay in the front of the line. Reality is what we have to deal with. And what are they going to say? Well, we have a minority here. No, you don't. No, you don't. You classified him as a minority.
We don't.
Was his people former slaves? Did his people have to go through the civil rights deal, or could they live where they wanted to live? But everybody looks like they just a little bit rude right now. But they can still buy their house in this neighborhood. They can still go to this school. The door was still open to them because why? They had the complexion to get the protection and get the connection.
Shit.
Amen.
So what your thoughts, Chuck? Come on.
He's absolutely right on that. I mean, we're all together on this. But see, that may be this conversation may be just something we needed to have to just kind of put a common disposition or place in this. And so then it comes down to, okay, so we see the game being played. So at some point, that's when we take our ball and go home. Well, we ain't playing that game.
Right.
You know, and when we take our ball and go home, them dollars go somewhere else. Then is when they wake up. When that $2.6 trillion swing away from your ass, then you're going to say, wait a minute now. We don't care whose dollar it is. Get the money spent. Yes. Why I can't have my yacht? We got to cut back on the corporate jet. Yeah, The pandemic brought a real stark reality, and I'll name a particular industries and things that happened because they were calling us. We had the whole thing. Let's say on Grubhub, for example.
Oh my God, yes.
Businesses, what's going on? What's happening, or whatever, and you're like, wait a minute, y'all claim to have all the data. You and Google, Amazon, y'all got all the data, so you tell us, you know it all. Says, well, we can go by zip code. We know where we pick up and drop off and where we got the food from that we delivered and who and what, but we don't know where they are now because they're not answering the phone or the email address is changed. Then you get over here and get with these companies. And let me tell you something. You hear, there's one in particular, and they out of Chicago, big, household name. Everybody know black folks be loving to drink some Hennessy. That's just one. And probably Jack Daniels and some Jim Beam. Well, when those liquor stores started closing up and the bars were closed, and they were looking into the areas where their heavy volume of product moved to and distributed it and the points of purchase, they were talking about they off 45%.
And also the beer companies also.
And we need, hey, can we go find these businesses and can we just send them some money and help them get back open?
2 minutes,
we gotta
gentlemen.
get that pipeline back on. That's
Okay,
what
check that.
you act.
Okay,
Can I interject one thing?
Go ahead.
And in looking at this situation, I'd like to go all the way back down to the education situation. You mentioned, the Black Wall Street philosophy. Down in Oklahoma, we did have a Black Wall Street. Down in Oklahoma, we did, as black people, have our own Wall Street. But what happened down there? There was a crime where they killed all the people there. We got some people that still live through that situation. That needs to be in our education classes taught throughout the United States. Every state or whatever, we had some black Wall Streets that were there. And who didn't want those black Wall Streets? Who